This topic is all about measuring what's going on in the economy. But what is the economy? It's actually really difficult to define. In fact, the idea of the economy didn't come about until the lead up to World War II. We were trying to figure out if we had enough resources to get into the war. Now we talk about the economy all the time as if everyone knows what it is and how big it is, what's happening. But the truth is that we don't really have a good understanding of how to measure what's going on in this abstract concept that we call the economy. If you're interested in this, I have posted a podcast called Inventing the Economy from Planet Money in the optional videos section. It's quite fascinating to think about the history of how we think about the economy. In this section, we're going to be talking about 3 categories of macroeconomic indicators. Those are measures of what's going on in the economy. We'll talk about how we calculate measures of aggregate production, how we calculate measures of the aggregate price level, and how we measure what's going on in the labor market. These 3 categories of macroeconomic indicators are the most commonly reported and used cited indicators to tell us what's going on in the economy. So this will be useful when you're listening to the news and you hear questions about whether or not we'll have a recession and what is happening to inflation. Our first category of indicator is measures of aggregate production. And every category is going to have different indicators within that category, and we're just going to talk about the biggest, the most commonly cited indicators. Within this category of aggregate production, we're going to be focusing mostly on GDP. Now, I'm actually going to have you watch a video from Marginal Revolution University to help define GDP, because the production quality is just much higher than what I can give you. So I'm going to have you watch that video, and then I want you to think about what gets included and what doesn't get included in GDP calculations. And I've got some examples here in the notes that you can circle what's being included. After you do that, we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about GDP.